Chapter 4. Vin's eyes darted from one point to another in a desperate search for the two men, and for Alana. "Oh, light's sake, where is she?" he thought, his mind racing. "What do I do?" he said aloud. Marcus turned to him. His eyes seemed deep but focused. An unnatural sense of calm and peace emanated from his father. Marcus stood up, and in a voice that seemed to command respect and beamed with authority, he said, "Nathaniel is dead. We cannot stay here, and we must arm ourselves." Old Man Grundy looked at Marcus quizzically. "For what? A fairy tale? This young man was delusional. And the blight take you for trying to scare all these people. A head wound from a horse, maybe. Or he fell. Or—" Marcus cut him off. "A horse didn't cause this," he said, as he pulled up poor Nathaniel's tunic, revealing a 4-inch-long gash in his side. But as horrid a sight as that, what hit Vin's in the gut like a punch was the state of the wound itself. There were many wounds about Nathaniel's body, wounds obviously caused by blades. They were open and bleeding. But this wound was different. It was an open wound, yes, but something about it was strange. Finn stepped closer to look at the wound, his mouth beginning to dry as he knew what he would see and smell. It looked like it had been cauterized. "No blood," Vin's thought. "Oh, Light. Oh, dear Light, don't be—" he began to think, but the thought was cut off by what he smelled. Burning flesh. His dream from earlier sprang forth, and suddenly he felt like a rabbit caught in a trap. "Pa, what do we do?" he squeaked. Marcus looked at him. His father appeared perfectly calm and collected. "We prepare, boy," he said. Then, ever so quietly, "We prepare for our nightmares. Come to kill us." "What?" piped up Old Man Grundy, squinting at Marcus. "Prepare for what, Marcus? Huh? Storybook creatures and old wives' tales? I'm gonna go to Whitehall and fetch this poor lad's father and—" Again, Marcus cut him off, this time with a stern look on his face. "If you go out there, it will be your life," he said, pointing a stern finger straight in Mr. Grundy's face. Grundy opened his mouth to speak, but thought better of it, and sat on a bench with a thud, hands collapsing into his lap. And if Vin's didn't know any better, the old man looked as if he was about to pout. "The blight, there's no weapons here," Marcus said, closing his eyes in thought. "We must get to the house, boy," he said, as he grabbed Vin's by the shoulder and almost lifted him off his feet towards the door. "But Pa, our friends, and Alana, we can't just—" "My concern is you, my boy. I promised your mother I would—" Marcus's voice trailed off. "But Pa—" Vin's began. "No," Marcus barked. "I promised your mother. Now let's go, and keep your fool eyes out for those two men, you hear me, boy?" His father had that tone in his voice that Vin's knew all too well. It was the "don't talk back, no matter what" tone. "Yes, sir," Vin said in resignation. Out the door they both went, Marcus sprinting, and Vin's half running and half being carried by his father. It took a moment for Vin's eyes to adjust to the dark. Vague shapes slowly coming into focus. And 4 shapes in particular were missing. The bard and the stranger's horses, and their own cart and horse. "Typical tactic," Marcus said, almost matter-of-factly. "What?" Vince yelled. Typical tactic, Pa, typical tactic what? Alana, Pa, I can't." Close your mouth, fool boy, and let's go. We need to get back to the house. Vince thought about Alana in her blue and white dress. No, he thought. I can't. I can't. He mustered every ounce of strength in him and dug his heels into the dirt. No, Pa, I can't. I'm going to go get Alana, he exclaimed defiantly. Marcus stopped and let go of Vince and spun him around in one effortless motion and peered deep into his son's eyes. It took everything Vince had to look his father in the eyes and not flinch. I'm gonna go get Alana, and then we can all go. He was cut off by a murderous scream. A scream filled with panic, desperation, and pain. Vince felt all the blood in his face drain out as he became white as a sheet, frozen from head to toe. Alana, he muttered. Damn you, boy. Fine. Let's move, Marcus said as he gave Vince a mighty shove. Let's find your Alana. He doesn't look scared at all, Vince thought. Fairy tales and death and that scream. And he's calm? The thought flickered away as he saw movement from the edge of the wood out of the corner of his eye. A shape seemed to form out of the darkness, a figure on a horse, stopping at the very edge of the wood. Squinting, Vince tried to peer closer at the figure. He could vaguely make out a black horse with some sort of metal attached to it, and an almost shapeless figure sitting atop the horse. There was something familiar about that figure. Familiar and dangerous. This way, you mud-brained fool, sheep-herder, Vince heard someone say in a smooth yet urgent voice. Both Vince and Marcus turned to see who spoke. Vince's eyes widened, and Marcus's fists clenched when they saw who called out. A man in multicolored patchwork clothing stood there, gesturing them to follow. It's the Bard! Vince yelped. Marcus stepped in front of Vince in a protective stance. What do you want? Marcus demanded. Why, to help you, of course, the Bard said in an almost nonchalant manner. You do wish to live, don't you? What's your game? Marcus demanded. Game? The Bard said with a little chuckle. No game. Just here to help. You want to find your lady friend, yes? What? Vince thought. How does he know about Alana? Hey, you! Vince began, but the Bard was already moving away. Vince shot past his father to catch up to the Bard. Vince! Exclaimed his father as he tried to grab him. Vince, no! End of Chapter 4. I thank you for your time.